This video is part of a new monthly Patreon series, where a patron suggests a work, and I make a short video based on what I thought the most interesting thing about it is. If you have something you want to suggest, consider supporting me over there. Air is weird. Like most key KyoAni collaborations, despite the deceptively simple premise presented at the beginning, even from the get-go, the show is rife with oddities and the supernatural. From magical puppetry, ghosts of the unborn, spiritual possession, reincarnation, generational curses, visions of genetic memory, time traveling, the crow. The fucking crow, dude, Jesus Christ. By the end of its modest 12 TV episodes, Air has taken you on quite the wild ride, and one that can be quite engrossing if you let it. But for all the exciting, crazy, outlandish things that happen in this show, the element that left the biggest impact on me was the most pressingly real one: the setting. According to the developers of the original visual novel, the town setting was modeled after Kasumi, a small rurality in the west coast of Hyogo Prefecture. This stands in contrast with both Kanon and Clannad, which are modeled after Osaka and Tokyo respectively, because it's striking just how empty the town is. There are less than half a dozen shots where background pedestrians or cars are seen going past, to the point that it's notable when they appear. For example, when this old man first showed up, I was like, what? Yukito and the girls have their important walk and talk scenes down barren streets, completely unbothered by empty community areas. And barring the handful of children who infrequently appear to watch Yukito's puppetry, and a very brief scene featuring some of the girls' classmates, almost every single character who speaks outside of the flashbacks ends up being a main character. The original game was released in 2000, the 9th year of the Lost Decade, after the asset bubble price collapse of 1991 and the subsequent stagnation of the Japanese economy. A common joke in the first half, when things aren't soul-crushingly depressing all the time, is Yukito getting excited at the prospect of payment only for it to end up being food, a coupon, or a favor or something. He even quips something along the lines of, but he doesn't seem to be that far off the mark, because the unnamed town definitely fits the bill of a Genkai Shuraku, marginal or terminal village. A phenomenon in Japan where towns are dying because over 50% of the population are over 65 years old. The fact that we aren't shown any elderly in the village is more than likely just due to the nature of the visual novel and anime's demographic, but it's also indicative of society's broader attitude towards Genkai Shuraku, of this is one of the reasons why I'm not such a big fan of the 2005 Dezaki directed Air film, because the town shown there is absolutely thriving, which takes away a little bit of the tragedy for me. Hijiri, the elder Kirishima sister, states that with the death of her parents, she is the only doctor in the town, but frequently has enough time to drink coffee and go on trips with the main characters. The only other two characters shown working, Haruko and Misusu's father, who are both implied to be office workers, work outside of the city, with Haruko shown taking a very long daily commute by motorbike. It's notable that Haruko speaks Kansai-ben, the dialect of the region in which Hyogo is located in, which implies that her office might be somewhere in Kobe or somewhere else in the greater Osaka metropolitan area. Her father is even implied to work in Tokyo, considering how infrequent his visits are, and that he speaks standard Japanese, even though Haruko snaps at him that he should be speaking in Kansai-ben. Now, every other character also speaks in standard Japanese, and it's not ever brought up, and this is just a very common feature of Japanese media in general. But it has the effect of leaving the town as a place without any identity. No industry, no accent, no culture, no people. What once was a site of enough significance to host a prominent temple, significant Buddhist population, and a literal demigod is now just a sad, dying, aging town, where festivals end early due to lack of turnout. The train station is closed down due to lack of passengers. Cars and roads are left abandoned and overgrown due to lack of care. What's really eerie is that this isn't necessarily artistic license. A fan who took a Seiichi Junrei, or a trip to find the locations of the anime in 2005, found some of the locations were even more overgrown and desolate than shown. Gotta love that 2005 Japanese internet quality. At the end of the show, with Misusu dead and Yukito a crow, seriously, man, like, the fucking crow, dude. Like, I understand every ass insane thing in this show, but the goddamn crow, why is he a crow? Why is he a time-traveling crow? Haruko tells him to leave, to spread his wings and finally soar in the sky that his family had always coveted. The ending implies that finally the curse of the winged beings and Ryuda's family line having finally been broken. But there's also the implication that all of the surviving characters are going to move on and out. Minagi has gotten back in contact with her estranged father and family and has a deep-seated desire to travel. And Kano, with a new outlook on life, will most likely be led away too, whether it be to Kobe, Osaka, Tokyo, or beyond. And this is a positive for them, but not for the town. This gets all the more confronting when you realize that the town of Kasumi itself no longer exists, having been incorporated with 2 other localities to form the new town of Kami. Which itself is not an isolated story. As the Lost Decade gets continuously updated to the Lost Decades, young people in Japan are migrating en masse to urban centers, in what political science professor Kato Hisakazu calls pole societies. And with Japan's aging population, as of 2019, up to 13.6% of all houses in Japan are abandoned. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of towns exactly like Kasumi. The curse of the winged beings might be broken, and there is hope for all the surviving characters, but none for the town, nestled away, dying on the Sea of Japan. Just because you can now soar in the air, doesn't mean the land below goes anywhere.